Good evening and welcome to the Common Council City Connersville, February 22nd, 2022 meeting. All rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, led by Councilman Tommy Williams.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Eric?
Thank you. It's pretty good. Heavenly Father, we want to thank you for all that has been accomplished in the last couple of years through city and county government. Tonight I lift up each council member as well as those in attendance this evening. In our hearts we plan our course. We pray that you will establish our steps. My prayer is that we will never forget to seek you for advice and direction. Help us not to make decisions based upon what we know, but rather that we make decisions based upon your wisdom. Please guide us tonight, Lord. We place this meeting in your hands so that you may direct us in tonight's agenda and business. In the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, I'd like to welcome everyone. Please make sure your cell phone ringers are off. We will begin with roll call.
Councilman Gray.
Present.
Councilman Collins.
Present.
Councilman Warner.
Here.
Councilwoman Barrett. Councilman Williams Jr.
Present.
Councilwoman Phillips.
Present.
And Councilman Robb.
Here.
Okay, again, we will be doing a slow motions and everything so I can make sure we get the camera on Diana. So bear with me, I'll try not to rush through that. So just be aware we will be doing that with the Zoom meeting. Everyone has the minutes from the February 7th, 2022 regular meeting. Are there any additions or corrections to those? If not, I entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
Motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed, same sign. Motion carried. On down to new business. We can take item A and B together. Approval of resolution 2022-04 and 2022-05. Rosemary?
Resolution 2022-4 is a resolution to transfer $23,807.56 from general to first aid non-reverting. Resolution 2022-05 is a resolution to reimburse $15 into the cable telephone. Resolution 2022-06 is a resolution to reimburse park telephone in the amount of $60.35. Resolution 2022-07 is a resolution to reimburse park telephone in the amount of $50. Resolution 2022-08 is a resolution to reimburse $150 into DOT, garage, and motor supplies. And Resolution 2022-09 is a resolution to reimburse $1,853.67 into police, other contractual.
Any questions? If not, I entertain a motion to approve resolution 2022-04, 05, 06, 07, 08, and 09.
So moved.
Have a motion and a second.
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Item C, approval of abolishment of 2-year outstanding checks. Rosemary?
Per State Board of Accounts, after 2 years, the checks are to be voided with your approval.
Questions? Any motion to approve?
Motion. Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Okay, item D, request permission for additional appropriations. The Board of Works approved their contracts pending approval of the additional appropriation request. I'll explain these each individual here. The first one is an addition from the edit funds for the pool payment. That's something that's done every year. Rosemary handles
Yeah, we
that.
do that every year.
You want to explain that so people understand?
It's just moving it to a debt payment fund for the payments that are still due.
Any questions on that before I move on? Pretty standard, straightforward. The second one's gonna be an additional request from the general fund for the Longwood Bridge quote. The total project was $322,000. We had, $172,000 in donations, and we're taking $150,000 out of general funds to, get that bridge under repair. We were trying to get quotes. When did we got the quote earlier, and through the price increase of everything, they went up. We want to secure that price increase, so that we won't see the price increase, because they won't be able to do the project right away, but they're going to get the materials in place to get that fixed. We wanted to fix that. That bridge everyone knows how dangerous it is. Catherine, I mean, you've explained it, how the problem we're in. And the bridge is something that I think it's an iconic piece of the park, and I think it's something we should save. And the board works approved of that, and so basically we're looking to, all these are going to be, we're not requesting the money, these are requests to advertise, because we have to do a public hearing on these. So this is, all I'm going to ask for tonight is a request to advertise for public hearing. So I'm just explaining what we're wanting to do. Item 3 is additional appropriation from ARP funds. Now the ARP funds are a little different. It does come out of the general, which is why we have to do a special hearing or a public hearing on it. But the money from the ARP, which is the federal government, they put that money into our general, and we had to create a fund, which Rosemary established a fund for that. So in order to expense the money out of that, we have to do a public hearing on it, just like you would with anything out of the general fund. So there's been really 3 rulings on that. When it first came out, they said that, I was at a mayor's conference that came out and said that the ARP funds are going to be given to the communities to help however they see fit. I have to admit I laughed, because I knew that wasn't going to be the case. We all knew there was going to be a bunch of strings attached. They came out with the interim ruling, and the interim ruling had all the strings attached. They came out with a final ruling, which I think that came out a month ago, maybe. You remember when that came out? A month or 2? It was fairly recent. And then they have a addendum to the final ruling. So it keeps changing. But the addendum actually it helped us. It made it a little more flexible on how we do it. The reporting mechanisms are gone away and different things like that. So, but we still have to follow the process for expending the money. Really what we're trying to do in the next 3 is we got several issues with our vehicle replacement program. We've been doing what we can for years. The police, I'll start with the police. We do 2 vehicles a year. We've been buying used. I think when I was on council, we did buy some new. Whether the prices have gone up, we've been buying used. With 2 vehicles a year at 30 vehicles puts us on a 15-year cycle. And if our police car getting used every day and buying used equipment 15 years, you can see how far behind the curve we are on our vehicle replacement. Our maintenance cost, Brad's out there. I mean, he knows how much maintenance we put into the maintaining these vehicles. We're still running Crown Vics. We have 2 Crown Vics? 2. So we are still running Crown Vics, which you all know how old those are. So the biggest obstacle we've been facing with all of this is how do we get this started and how do we get ahead of the curveball in the cycle. So what we try to do is we have some flexibility with the ARP funds with what we currently have in the budget, and we've trying to find a way to, we don't have the backside built yet. That's going to take some time on the replacement cycle, but this gets us past that hump, which is the hardest part, and that's getting it started. That's why we're approving, looking for 6 police vehicles. So in doing so, start with number 3, the additional appropriation from ARP funds to purchase 2 ambulances. And Clint will come in here and explain some of the problems we're having with the ambulances. We're having problems with getting vehicles all around. The total project cost is $556,072. That's for the ambulances, the cots. There's a bunch of stuff that goes into that. Clint, we got a quote on ambulances how long ago? The first time? It was a month ago, maybe.
And then we got a follow-up 2 weeks.
2 weeks later, they went up $40,000 in 2 weeks. And we know this will continue to go up. The issue with the ambulances is even if we approve these, the first ambulance is a 12-month lead time,
12 to 14 months,
and the second one is almost
24 to
24
26
months. That puts us in a box with what we currently have right now. So that's why we went with the front side, get this going. We are using the money he got a grant for $74,000 from the COVID funds received. We also have $200,000 from the ambulance fund. We keep 10% back of all the money for replacements, so we're gonna use that money. And that's still gonna be short, so that's why we wanna fund the rest with $282,070 out of the ARP funds. So I'll explain that pretty, okay. So that's what we're looking to do with the ambulance side of things. On the police, we have 6 police cars for a total of $247,000, $247,647. We have $80,000 in their budget. In the ARP funds, we're requesting $185,116 to get to all 6 of them. That comes fully equipped, by the way. The most, well, not going to say the most expensive part, it's expensive to equip a police car. That's all included. They won't come with the logos, we do that on our own, but everything else, they come ready to go. And the 5th one is additional appropriation funds for the purchase of equipment for City TV3. One thing with City TV3 is, I just found out tonight that, well, they're funded with cable franchise fees. Those numbers are going down, and the equipment we have is very old. And the way we can use ARP funds for this, because we do all of our meetings live. Anytime we have a public meeting, they take the van out, they use the cameras. Tonight, after this, they're doing the basketball games, and all that is part of the COVID money, because now we're keeping it so you have an easy way to watch city government and everything via TV service. By the way, which is rare. A lot of communities do not have TV3 service. Everywhere I go, people are jealous of our TV3 service. Even big communities do not have what we have here. That's just a tremendous blessing. We want to protect that. But even tonight, he had a camera go down and kind of bad. So our equipment's just old, it's outdated, and we can use this money to get it updated. The van, you see there's a generator for the van. That generator, everywhere he goes, he plugs into shore power. So if we go to a basketball game or football game somewhere, he has to plug into whatever power he has. Now, for all the equipment he runs in there, that's pretty dangerous. Because you got the heating, the cooling, because they have to maintain their temperature when you're trying to power everything, you don't know what kind of power you're gonna get. So this generator will allow him the flexibility to power everything he needs and to protect his equipment in that van, because the generator will provide sufficient power for everything. And the rest of it was, I think, a computer and a couple of laptops, I think, for all the production services. And that total is $96,766. So that's kind of a brief explanation of what we're doing and why we're doing it. And all I'm asking tonight is for an additional appropriation. Advertisement for an additional appropriation, which will be at our next meeting. So I know that was a lot of information kind of quickly. If you have any questions, ask now. I'll answer, do what I can to answer.
On the ARPA funds, what was the grand total that we got?
Grand total was around 2.8. We don't have all that, it's coming in waves. 1 million of that we cannot spend, so what we did was we applied for the HELP grant, and we pledged 1 million of that to get an extra million from Okra. So we took $1 million of basically free money and found another way to get another $1 million. But that money will be at a project or projects that the HELP grant, which would be the community identifies that we want to do. City's council still has a say on it, so they can identify a project and decide not to do it. It doesn't matter. That leaves the 1.8, which is what we're looking to do. So this allows us to get the vehicles. I'm looking at the radios, which Clarence is working on. We're still working on some issues with the radios. We can use the dollars to fix our radio problem. Just so you know, that's probably close to a $500,000 fix. But we have some serious radio problems with our community and with everything. And Clarence can probably explain it better than I can, because I know how to press a button and talk. That's about it.
Yeah, well, I talked to 911 too, and they were talking about the difficulty with funds, getting them from county, and with Connersville, the majority of the population in Connersville, with the majority of our first responders in Connersville, we are, and the quote was, Russian roulette with 911. If 911 goes down, we are in serious trouble. So I love being able to have all these items, but as long as I hope that we can keep 911 forefront as far as replacing or whatever.
Yep.
I know there's a relationship there with how things are split, but regardless of relationships or feelings, the money's gonna have to come from somewhere to, if 911 goes down.
Yes, but here's the issue I'm having, I'm trying to figure out, is We don't manage 911. I can't use ARP funds for a county managed project. That's how I'm able to do the ambulances, because we manage the ambulances as a city, so I can use the city ARP funds to provide ambulances even though they cover the county. 911 is the exact opposite. The commissioners have to spend their money on that. Now, I'm trying to find a way to maybe patch, so we can patch our system in, but we've been meeting with commissioners trying to figure out a solution to that as well, but we really can't use our funds for the dispatch part of it. I know that. Now, if there's a small fix I can do, so if we switch to where we switch to, and there's a small fix I can do to make it work better, I can justify that, but I can't justify the entire board. That's what I'm working on right now.
Would that also include, I guess I mentioned a tower?
The tower really won't have anything to do with that, but
No, we're just trying to get a piece of the rock, so to speak. Because the county owns almost everything,
yeah.
communication-wise, short of everybody's portables and radios.
Yeah.
Okay, so the majority of the responsibility is lying on county.
For the dispatch part of it, yes.
The only way, there'd have to be some legal disagreement, so to speak. One city has done it in the state of Indiana. They acquired some 911 funds. If the funds come in for this county, they go directly to this county. They do not come to us at all.
That's state statute, though. I looked at that.
Well, there's another way of going about it, if you read up on Tell City's situation.
Tell City.
Yeah. They did a deal with, they had an argument with their county too, and they was trying to acquire some of the 911 funds. And I didn't call them or go into great detail about it because we don't want to throw rocks at anybody yet.
No. I'll call them, though. They must have, the only way to do that is work on interlocal with them. Because by state statute, that dictates 911 funds go to the county, and then they have to disperse it as they see fit. So that would probably have to be interlocal to do something like that.
That's true. They found a way because their center is in the city. That's what they specify.
Okay, I will look at that, thank
I
you.
don't know all the ins and outs of it. Like I said, I just researched a little bit of it in the newspaper, and that's all they said about it.
I'll call the mayor and talk to him. But yes, Jabin, that is a forefront of our thought, is how to solve that problem. But that even just our handheld radio and equipment issues is still $500,000. I think the clearance board is what, 175, I think?
Yeah, I think so.
I think a board is 175,000. I call it a board. It's a console. Again, my terminology with radios is not the best.
Right, but in conclusion is, all these funds are coming out of the ARPA.
Our
and
portion.
it's, you know, and it's some from current budgets, like
Yes,
that's already there.
yes, like
And then we're
the,
simply advertising for number 2.
correct. I'm only advertising for the request, where you see like the general fund request and ARP funds request, even though it's gonna say general fund, it's ARP money, but it's out of that specific fund. But yes, it's only what we're requesting. The rest of it comes out of their budgets.
The only question I have is this John Jones, is he
Yep.
a state bid?
Yes, come on in, we've been trying to, we can't get prices, okay? He's the only one that has any, and we've tried several people.
We've been local, 2 or 3 through the state of police bid vehicles, and nobody can give us a bid or a quote because they don't have any and don't expect any until 23 sometimes, so they don't even have a bid yet on it.
I know we're having chip problems with vehicles because they can't get the chips in.
Yeah, and John Jones has a handful left,
There's not many left.
on site, ready to throw equipment in. There's a couple other places in Indy that we've used in the past, and they can't even give us a quote. Reedman can't give us a quote.
And I had to throw dealers out there, Fletcher and
That was one.
Franklin, Indiana,
Yeah, that was wrong, and one in Greenfield.
and they didn't have anything either.
nobody. And we tried scouring police vehicles in Indiana, and nobody can give us a quote because they don't have any.
So this bid's gonna be for 2021s?
Yeah, nobody can even have, they don't even have 22s, and 23s, the next time Remy can even give us a bid. Yeah,
The only other concern I have is because Durangos cost more money. I'd rather see more vehicles than more money. Plus, they're gonna cost us more money in the long run.
that's what they have out there. So far, they have no more Chargers. We got those on hold. And they're getting, I think, 7 or 9 Durangos, and then that's it. Getting those in the next couple of weeks. I mean, it's just limited.
And to equip them, it's $8 grand.
Mhm. Yeah, that's them installing it also. Yeah.
Chief, is there, the current vehicles or the newer vehicles, not the ones you might be replacing, but the newer vehicles that have been bought in the last few years, are any of them, can we use any of that, this money to fix anything that may be broken on those? I don't know if there is or not.
On what year timeframe?
In the last couple of years, the vehicles that you aren't gonna be replacing
So
in the
the
next few years.
last couple of years were the older, higher mileage used vehicles from like Chicago Motors. We haven't got any new vehicles in.
Well, I don't wanna say new, but if they were bought in the last few years,
Okay, so the last
that
one
you
we
might not be
bought,
replacing,
Yeah.
can you fix those too, or
the-
put money towards
they're-
those?
we're putting money into several of our vehicles on a
Right.
weekly basis.
Just to try to help.
Like our last
It's a nonstop.
vehicles. it's
We're
non-
constantly maintaining it.
Our last vehicles had anywhere from 60,000 to 90,000 miles on them that we purchased last year or the year before.
Yeah.
There are those Ford Explorers.
Right, I was just wondering if, like, this influx of money, if we're already possibly struggling to keep up with that, can we,
That's what,
besides not only getting ahead of the curve by buying new vehicles,
Fix
get
it.
it ahead of the curve by infusing a little extra money and to fix whatever is possibly broken? I don't know if there is or not.
If they're broken, we fix them.
Right, I'm just saying,
those vehicles I'm talking about, those aren't the ones that we're having issues with. It's
Okay.
the 2012 and 14s that we're having issues with.
I'm not for sure about use of that either, on what I have to see about fixing. I know it's to purchase equipment and to replace equipment, but I don't know anything about fixing, so I have to look at that model and see. We have a DOT budget, that's a good question, because we do have a DOT budget for that, we use that for that, but, so I don't know the answer to that, because I didn't look at that one.
The cars that you're gonna, I say cars, I know you have trucks and SUVs, and I'll just use the term cars that you're gonna replace or are gonna take out of service, let's put it that way. Are those gonna be cars, SUVs, or what are they gonna be?
The one we're taking out of service.
Yeah,
2 of them are cars, they're the Chargers, and they are in service periodically, but we're gonna use them as pool cars because they are the better ones. We do have one Crown Vic left on the road. One was taken off because of Reed's retirement. I put his car on the road. So we're still gonna have one Crown Vic off, that's gonna be gone. We have I think it's like a 2009 Charger that was Officer Coons years ago. That's still on, that's in weekly with a new motor even. So I mean, that's another one.
so all the trucks are gonna be kept in service? Don't you have like 2
Trucks,
trucks?
yeah, they'll stay. Yeah, these are the older Crown Vics, those old Chargers that are 14 and older. They're-
Well, what I'm after is hand-me-down vehicles for maybe the Parks Department or utilities or somebody that may need them.
Yeah, I mean, if they're willing
I
to
didn't
take
know
that
if-
on, I mean, I don't know.
The question I'm gonna have is, one to make, because some of these cars are ones that we're spending a ton fixing.
Oh,
weekly.
absolutely, I understand that.
If they're
too.
worth keeping, yeah, we'll keep them as a pool car, keep them, I think Scotty could use Chief Jones could use a pool car for his guys going to training or whatever, because right now, they take his truck or somewhere.
Yeah, we'll have
So,
some pool cars.
If it's a car worth saving, we might put some money back.
Which we'll have about 3 of those that probably worth.
To use them every day,
Pool car,
they're
yeah,
just
they're
nickel
not
and
never
diming us to death. Any other questions? Good questions.
The only thing I have with all this is, I'd like a little more time to do a little study on all this. Can we table this?
I'm just asking
This
for
is-
advertisement for additional appropriation, which would be the next meeting, will be the, when we do the hearing on it. So we're not voting on anything tonight. This is just, the only thing I'm asking for is I have to, since it's an additional appropriation, it's art funds, still on the general fund, I have to do a public hearing on it. So the next meeting is when we'll make up our minds.
And the only other thing I have is the bridge included in this packet?
Yes. It's, this is just the public hearing on it.
Right.
I'm just on.
I get what you're after, but the only other thing I have, if the Longwood Bridge is included in this, I've had at least one person come to me and try to open up for a bid on that, and he's never been contacted.
A lot of it is specialty.
Well, that's what these guys do, is special stuff.
Well, then
So, I mean, I'm just saying.
I don't know the answer to that, so all I'm doing is asking for advertisement for additional appropriation.
That's all I have.
Any other questions? All right, do I have a motion to advertise for additional appropriation for all 5 that I asked for?
Motion?
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed, same sign. Okay, motion carried. Thank you very much. Okay, we have approval of pending orders 3771, change in fund numbers. Rosemary?
Per State Board of Accounts, they are requiring all municipalities to switch their fund numbers from a 3-digit to a 4-digit number. So this will be putting the fund numbers on record of the changes that we've made.
Questions? I have a motion to approve pending orders 3771, first reading.
Motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed, same sign. We have a motion to suspend the rules.
Motion.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed, same sign. And a motion for third and final reading.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Thank you very much. I do have one more item I had to add that came in last minute, but I have an airport board nomination to make. Lonnie Scott is going to be coming off the board. He took a job at the airport, correct?
Yes.
So he can no longer serve on the board and work at the airport at the same time. So he's going to be helping out there. So Brandon Granger is going to be his replacement. We're excited to have Brandon on the board. He's been a pilot for a long time and very avid about the airport. So Brandon Granger will be the replacement for the airport board. Move on down to department reports. Chief Harden.
Good evening.
Everyone should have a copy, it's in the front pocket of the, yeah.
Annual.
Folder.
Annual.
I was trying to think of the technical name of that thing there, so folder. Had 357 calls for service, a total of 4,135 miles for the month. Couple of corrections from the time that we have to have this in, so it can come to all of you. I did have a resignation of a medic, so that was the one that was still on the leave of absence, so he has resigned. One that was off on workman's compensation is back on a structured return, so yay. And one of the EMTs, the one that was off for surgery, is now back to work, effective today. So we are making some progress forward, I guess. Seems like maybe 2 steps forward, 1 step back, but hey, we're getting there. Legislative update, the House Bill 1112. When I wrote this, it was in the Senate, assigned to the appropriations. It has passed the committee. It's pending votes in the full Senate now for to increase the Medicaid reimbursement for ambulance services. There are several others. This one, other bills that are out there pending in regards to EMS and EMS billing. This one seems to have the most traction right now. It has gotten the furthest. So that's kind of the one I've been following. I've been watching them all. If one kind of comes from behind, I'll let you know about that. On January 25th, we had our Indiana Pharmacy Board inspection, and we passed. We had two very, very minor things that they wanted to have corrected. One was about 7 words in a sentence that they wanted changed. No big deal, we got that done. We're only the fourth, at that time, we were the 4th service in the state of Indiana to pass our inspection. So out of 300 and some services, we're number 4 right now. So I was pretty proud of that. I did apply to the DEA for our license, but you don't get any feedback. You click submit, and that's pretty much the end of it. I don't have a phone number. I don't have an email to follow up. You just click it, and I guess they get back with you when they want to. So we'll see how that goes. We did get 2 new the Knox medication storage systems installed in January. The first 2 were installed in October. We can thank the snowstorm for getting them in quicker because the service tech said, hey, he lives in Brookville. I called him the day before the snowstorm. He said, hey, I've already canceled all my trips because they were to northern Indiana. And he's like, I'll just run up and put them in. If the weather gets too bad, I'll go home. I said, sounds good to me. So he came out and put them in less than 24 hours after I called him, which is phenomenal that he covers the state of Indiana and got to us in about 20 hours. So I was pretty impressed with that. Does anybody have any questions on the monthly report? If not, I'll just hit real highlights on the yearly. There's a lot of information in the yearly. My numbers are on there on the very front page. Feel free to text me, call me anytime if you want clarification. I know there's a lot to digest. Answered 4,419 calls for service, which is a new record. That's the most calls we've ever done in a year before. Over 74,000 miles. Received several grants. We provided 200 man-hours of special event coverage, including events at the track during the fair, football, demolition derbies, and high school rodeo. Had Scott Brown complete his paramedic training through St. Vincent's, so that was a highlight of our year as well. Multiple education, PHTLS, which is an internationally recognized course, and you guys were here when we updated the billing ordinance. So that was the first time that had been done since 2015. On page 35, near the back, it kind of has, I'm starting to get enough numbers I can trend stuff, which is what I like to do. 1 year doesn't tell you anything. Trending gives you a little better picture. We billed out over $3 million in 2021. Mandatory adjustment for $1.7 million. That was either through Medicare, Medicaid, or contracts with insurance companies, where we will take a lower amount in order to play ball with them, basically. So we had an adjusted charges of 1.2 million, and we collected just over $1 million. So that was 81% roughly, which is really good. That's better than most do. So very, very pleased with that. There's a lot of statistics, type of calls, what we were dispatched on. Keep in mind that when you start looking at like call provider initial impressions, those numbers will not match dispatch numbers because those were actually transported patients, not dispatch calls. So if we go out on a car wreck and we're halfway there and we get disregarded because nobody's hurt, that shows up in your dispatch information, but it doesn't show up in your patient impression. So there is a disparity between those two numbers. But I got it broken down to gender and age. I have to do age for the Indiana EMS for Children program. So went ahead and put that in there. Our rates, truck and vehicle information, say there's all sorts of stuff. So if anyone has any questions now or down the road, feel free to reach out to me. I'll be more than happy to talk to you about any of it.
Frank, you skipped over, for the third straight year, EMS was under budget.
Yeah, at least third straight year. Yeah, so at least,
Cover that.
yeah, at least the third straight year, because that's all I know of. But yes, 1.96 under budget, so. And that was actually putting money into, we took some money and you guys actually did it, transferred because we had an excess of fuel. We actually transferred 15,000, I believe it was, into the ambulance replacement fund out of fuel, because I didn't think that we were probably gonna have an excess of fuel money this year, so with the fuel prices the way they are, so. And that was even with moving money, we still came in under budget, so yes. All righty, thank you.
Thank you.
Superintendent Good.
Hi.
Hello.
Well, we had a really good year at the park. We are not emergency services, but I would like to talk a little bit about how we are very beneficial to the community as far as population growth goes, bringing people here so Clint can save their life and Scott can put their fires out and all that good stuff. So I sent some pictures over to John. Can you bring those up? This is just a little bit about what we did this year. It's just some pictures of projects that we completed. This one here is a picture of Babe Ruth. We've done a lot of work down at that park. We're kind of in a strange transition period as we think about moving to River's Edge. This shot here looks like nothing because it used to be the old fast pitch field where that fence was falling in and it looked really cruddy, so we took all that down and now it looks a lot nicer. And that's kind of the same from a different angle there. And this is the shelter out at Frazee Park. That was actually put in 2020. And then there should be one more of, this area is actually where the old wooden playground used to be. You can see now the grass has grown in and we kept the swing set there. So that's actually looking a lot nicer too. This is Offit's Park. We leveled out that playground and we added mulch to the area so it looks a lot nicer. I don't think that park has been paid much attention to in recent history. This area here, that bench in the middle of the island is the recovery bench that was put in a couple of years ago, and we took those posts and put around so people would stop driving into that area. We were afraid they were going to hit the bench, and I think that that group is going to put some more landscaping in that area too. This is a really bad picture of the fence we put in at the shop. You can see a little piece of it there behind that tree. You can go there. Yeah, that's a better picture. So I don't know if you remember or not, this is the shop area. We put in this fence. It's more of a privacy fence. It's not only to look nice, but it hides all of our junk that was very unsightly, all of our equipment. And then we also put a gate, we put a cattle gate in the front that we lock now. So people were just walking back there and taking a shovel or a rake if they felt the need for one. It's very strange. So we can actually, that's a better picture of the gate there. But I think it looks great. And you can see a little, one of the disc golf holes there too. I think that's just more the fence. It goes all the way around. This is the pool where we put the new windscreen up. Kind of gives you some more privacy. And then we also added windscreen over at the tennis court. It about took the fence down, but I think we have that situated. It does look a lot nicer though. Is that all the pictures I sent you? So some of that stuff might look like, wow, you tore a lot of stuff down, way to go. So, but that's kind of what the last year's been like. Kind of inherited we have 8 parks, if you don't remember, and inherited a lot of playground equipment that is old. a lot of things that were falling down, hadn't been paid attention to, and that are just frankly too expensive to fix for what they're worth. That's why we made the decisions we did, like with the Park Road Playground and with the Frazee Playground. It's been a lot about cleaning the slate, making sure that people aren't getting hurt on things that are old, making our parks look better as we transition into building funding to put in new things. I've been doing a lot of that internally as well. You know, there's been a lot of things that have been going on in the office as far as just policies and job descriptions, just small things that I feel that were not in place that we needed to do. So, you know, if the management transitions out, at least the policies will stay consistent. I feel like there was a lot of, you know, it was done this way 5 years ago, so why don't you do it this way? And it's just, you know, things needed to be put on paper. So lots of things like that have been going on. The other thing I wanted to talk to you about, the major accomplishment we have, I don't know if you heard, but we're going to build a park at 2nd Street. We had a really, really successful year. We raised just under $270,000 for 2nd Street. That puts us, when you combine that with all the other fundraising we did this year, that puts us at a total of $457,376.
Pretty good.
Yes, that's pretty good. And then when we add in the labor that will be donated for 2nd Street, I think will be well over $500,000. And that allows us to do things like put in a disc golf course, show movies at the park, put a shelter in at Frazee Park. That was all through donations. So, you know, so what? So you raise money, good for you. What does that mean? You know, you're a park. Aren't you just supposed to mow and, you know, put in swing sets? But what the trend is nationally, I think I sent all of you guys this report a couple of months ago from NRPA, the National Recreation and Park Association. And it talks a lot about how parks are becoming one of the driving factors into bringing businesses into towns. They are promoting population growth, which promotes your workforce, which promotes, you know, your tax base, and makes everybody happy. So I think when I talk about how much money that we raised, it's not to say, you know, look at just the dollars. It's the commitment behind those dollars, because I think it's really important to see that funders and your neighbors and local businesses see the parks as a legitimate investment. And that's why we are raising the amounts of money that we are. That's why people got behind 2nd Street Park as quickly as they did, because I think people can see that quality of life and livability is where Connersville needs to focus its attention. You know, that said, I kind of looked back to when I first started here in 2019, and in 6 months we raised $49,000. You know, and that was just from mostly a conversation with Reed Health and saying, hey, you guys haven't funded us before, you know, what's going on? And, you know, that led to renovating our tennis courts. Now we have brand new tennis courts, brand new pickleball courts. And then the following year, we doubled that. We raised $87,000 in 2021. I'm sorry, in 2020. So it just goes to show you that I feel like people they're buying in. They're buying into the parks, and they're following all these things that they found nationally. And I just circled a couple of them, you know, that parks improve local tax base and increase property values. They're one of the top 3 reasons that businesses locate to a certain destination. And the one I think is the most important, that parks are a tangible reflection of the quality of life in a community. They provide identity for citizens, and they provide services that are cited as the most important factors of how livable communities are. So if you think money talks, I think it's talking very, very loudly, especially this year. And I'm really proud of what we've done and everyone that's supported us. So we just hope to do bigger and better things this year. Any questions?
Great job on everything, especially with like Second Street Park and things. The one thing that, and I'm not discouraging anything or anything, but is there a way for us to make some type of priority with lighting and security cameras within our parks? Because I know you have big goals and I'd like to see the park moving in the right direction. But I think we ought to have some kind of, and I know it's not flashy, but the extra lighting, the security cameras within the parks, specifically Roberts Park and then fanning out with Second Street, to kind of help protect what we've invested in. And at least on the back end of knowing who may have damaged it or what may have been vandalized, that kind of thing.
Yeah, we get asked about security cameras a lot. Personally, I go back and forth with them because unless you get very expensive cameras, it's very hard to catch someone because it's dark. You can't see. We had the person that threw a brick through the Miller Center door a few months ago. They did it at like 4 in the morning. We had a camera right on the door. You couldn't see anything. And the people that we have caught on camera were juveniles. So, it turned into, you really can't do too much. So it's very much about, for me, it's the investment versus the reward. I don't know. Michael King was talking to me the other day with the new upgrades in our Wi-Fi. I think there's some different possibilities that we can look into as far as cameras go. So maybe there are some more affordable options that are better than what we had before. So.
And I'm not talking about fixing it all right this second or anything, but putting us on some type of plan for that, in addition to, if not more importantly, the lighting. To try to light it up at night, even for patrol, whoever goes through there, to try to make sure that we make it unattractive for any kind of bad elements.
Yeah. Is there a specific area of the park you're
Not
thinking
necessarily.
of?
I mean, I think
We
he
have
ought
the
to have a big
street
say in it,
lights.
but I think just in general, lighting ought to be a big focus too,
Yeah.
or a goal.
Last session, you made a comment that there was a shed removed, I believe, from the park.
A shed?
I believe it was an old shed you said had to be demoed. Was that demoed by the park people that you?
Oh, we took a shed down by the barns.
I think maybe that's where you were talking about.
Yeah.
Is that employees that do that?
Yeah, we did that.
So the employees are doing all the work that you showed us then, right?
They've done the disc golf, trying to remember. They did. We had a lot of help as to where to put everything. But yeah, I can't, and with help from the street department, there's some times where we need extra people or we need equipment that we don't have.
Right.
So it's usually a combination of park and street. But yeah, we don't.
You don't outsource it.
The shelters built were, but they also
Yeah,
got grant money for that.
the shelter was built
Right.
by Rish Construction.
I've seen that.
Yeah, like Chad said, there's usually if we use somebody outside, it's usually because it's a grant or something outside of our skill set.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great job.
Thank you. Chief Jones.
Good evening. Mine's gonna be a little bit shorter and sweeter, I think, than the rest of them. I told the Board of Works earlier, I hate to go after Catherine after all her fundraising she did a good job. But last month I submitted my year-end totals and some of our accomplishments, but was unable to come due to a fire. So this month I've got my normal January report. So start off with the overtime for January. Was $4,033.14, which was quite a bit less than last year. We got everybody healthy this year, so that's a good thing. Hopefully we keep that trend. At the bottom of the overtime page, you'll see I added fuel. That was a request by Councilman Warner. So in January, we used 744 gallons of fuel. Any questions on the first page?
I appreciate that.
I believe, last year, I went back and looked at last year's totals, and I believe we averaged around 850, I think,
Yeah.
the whole year. So we tend to drive a little bit more in the summer months than the winter months. So. Any questions on the first page? I think everybody's right there yet. But. Next page, total runs for January, 184 runs total. And then you'll have a summary of all the runs for the month after that. Following page, I have our training for the month of January. We had a total of 57 instructed hours of training. And then you'll see a summarized list of all the different trainings. And then on the final page, it shows the inspections. You're going to start seeing different names on the inspections. I'm finally able to get the guys out and train them on the new software that we're using for the inspections. The guys are good at doing the inspections, but trying to do it on the new software we got, it takes a little bit of time to get them used to that. So they're doing really well, and you should start seeing some different names and some more inspections on there also. So I try to get several done each week now. So any questions on that? No? All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Director Coker and Bottomley.
I'll go first.
Should have received 2 reports, January report and our annual. I'll go over January real quick. Revenue disbursement report, everything looked pretty good for the month of January. Our overtime was $9,224. 4,351 was scheduled overtime, and another 2,300 was due to a after-hour leak repair up on 30th Street. This payroll fell Christmas week, so Christmas, New Year's included. That's why overtime's a little high, but it's pretty comparable to the years past in overtime. Other than that, I listed all the projects we're involved in at this time. A lot of constructions projects going on right now, keeping us fairly busy with that. Is there any questions on the monthly report? The annual report, there's a little bit to it. I'm not going to read each page, but I can go over if you have any questions. The first 3 or 4 pages is basically our organization chart, our staffing, our seniority list, and kind of our contact information for utility office. We have a sheet in here defining our MS4 program. I know probably would have heard, usually talk about that once a year. There's a little bit to it, but it is an IDEA program that we have to participate in. Erin Johnson at the sewer plant, she helps with the MS4 program. We'll probably come in a few months and talk about it again. It's part of our continued education part of it for the community. Listed department highlights. I'm not going to read all the highlights, but we got broke down to the Vine Street office, stormwater management, wastewater, water department, of things that we accomplished this year. There's also a page describing our pre-treatment program, which is at the sewer plant. Erin runs that. She is our pre-treatment coordinator. She inspects certain factories in town on their discharge at times. And she'll probably come in sometime and talk about that too. Also, we have our most updated long-term control plan on page 9. Pretty up to date. Part of the Headworks project is part of this. I know Brad has talked about a few times in the meetings. Future planning, something I've spent a little time on. Brad and I discussed this a lot, especially, been here about 7 years. In the report, we got 3 years, but we look 5 years down the road, 10 years down the road, trying to plan things out, look at rate increases. We don't want huge rate increases, so we try to take a look at all that. We have created a lot of plans to try to keep up with maintenance of the facilities. One of the things, we do have a vehicle replacement plan. With the price of trucks this year, we may skip it this year. Last year we bought a car and a mower. It includes our dump trucks, service trucks, our regular vehicles, and the mowers is kind of part of the vehicle plan. But we're trying to replace, one a year at least to keep up with that. Equipment upgrades. Our equipment needs to be in good condition and working and usable when needed. You never know when something's going to pop up. So we try to update our equipment as much as we can. One example, 2020, we updated our cameras in the camera truck. This year we bought a new lateral camera for the guys. So every year we try to update a piece of equipment and inventory the equipment, see what we need and those type of things. Lift station upgrade. We have 28, 29 lift stations. Our goal is to upgrade 2 a year. We've been doing that, which has been very, very helpful. Our lift stations get used a lot. They're old. I think we've updated probably about 8 lift stations since I've been here. So we also developed a water tower maintenance plan. Goes up to 2030. It includes time frames, the videotape, the clean, repair, updating, painting, and testing of the wells and the water tower storage tanks. Some of our goals in 2022, we'll be upgrading our software in the office. I think Brad has talked about that a few times, but Brad and Cindy, our office manager, spent numerous hours researching, interviewing software providers, just trying to find what best fits for us. So we're excited to get that underway this year, and it should be completed this year. We're going to install 700 new meters this year on our meter program. We're going to GPS our meter pits and service lines to the houses and add them to our mapping, which is part of the copper lead rule that is coming out here soon. We're going to need to know these items anyway, so we need to go ahead and get a head start on that. And I'm sure we'll be in later to talk about the lead and copper rule. Erin Johnson, our wastewater superintendent, she will inventory and renumber all the manholes and catch basins in the city and add them to our mapping. Right now we're working off of 2 maps by 2 different engineers with 2 different numbers, manhole numbers. So we're trying to get that all organized. Also, we are beginning a sewer line maintenance program that we're going to videotape at least 1,000 feet of sewer main a month to take a look at the condition of the pipes. Page 12 and 13 is our typical revenue disbursement report. And our overtime report for last year. We also have what we call maintenance operation report. If you get bored at night, there's a lot of numbers you can look at, but a lot of office information, water plant information, sewer plant information that we look at when we do our planning. A new item that's been added to this report, you notice a map of Connersville, and the little blue squares represents the water main leaks we had and repaired last year. We go back to 2014, I can overlay each year, And we use this for future planning of water main replacement.
That's a good visual representation, by the way. I like that map.
Yeah.
I'm more visual anyway, so.
Yeah, it's, we go back 2014, and we look for clusters. We see a lot of, but this is pretty spread out. It looks like over around 30th Street, 35th Street, there's a little area of a lot of leaks, so, but we are, right now, we're in a process of, water planning to take a look at these mains and which ones needs to be replaced first, so that's being done right now through Butler Fairman, so. Page 16 is our water plant totals. Tells you how much water we pump each month. 17 is our utility bond information. We do have some bonds that we are paying for from the past. This gives the payoff date and our monthly payments that we make for those. And I promise I'm just about done. Page 18 through 29 is our budget. Kind of how we come up with the budget is operating maintenance budget. We take a look at expenses for 20, 21, some of the plans that we're planning on doing this year. We kind of come up with a budget. $7 million budget, so it's important that we try to plan ahead and have no surprises. In the last page, we also have 3 different budgets. We have a stormwater budget, a water budget, and a sewer budget. And it gets a little confusing because salaries is shared in between budgets. Office supplies is shared in between budgets. So you'll see some items that says shared. That's kind of what that is, divided by 3. So it gets a little confusing at times. And page 30 is our fifth third bank investments. The new headworks projects will eat away a lot of that this year. So other than that, is there any questions over the report? If you have any, give us a call sometime, and we'll be happy to answer those questions that you may have.
Sweet, Fred.
Howdy.
How's it going?
Is everybody still awake?
Oh, yeah.
Just checking. Feel a little redundant because we read these once already, but I'm gonna read them to you again. Some of the other highlights at the utilities that I wanted to mention. The last thing is that this past year, we've spent a big majority of our time working on this headworks project that you keep hearing about all the time. It's a $17 million project, and it requires a lot of deep thinking and planning and designing, and I'm looking forward to it bidding here in the next month or so, and things will ease up on us just a little bit. Next, the transfer station highlights. Tom Creech retired last year, and Anthony Hood has taken over, and he's done a pretty good job down there. He just told me again this morning he's still got a lot to learn, but he's working at it. Things operate pretty nicely down there, and I think our hours are fairly open to give everybody a chance to be able to get down there. And at some point during the week, we'll continue working on that at the compost site also. We got a new lawnmower down there. We had to make some repairs of the building. We upgraded a few things, and that's the transfer station report. At the street department, some of the things I want to brag about. You can see Bonnie's report, and that's sort of how many limbs we picked up and how many pounds of this and that. Sort of the nuts and bolts and different little odd jobs. If you take a minute and read that, you can just see all the different things there are in town that we are responsible for taking care of at the street department. Everything from lights to weeds to mowing to guardrails. I mean, it's just a little bit of everything there. But some of the things that we did this year that I'm most proud of, we continue to be able to upgrade our equipment. In particular, getting that new trash truck that has just given peace of mind to all of us, above and beyond what we've had for the last couple of years. We got a couple of used dump trucks that
turned out pretty nice for a pretty reasonable price. We got a new mower. We've upgraded our equipment that we use to repair the streets, and we're gonna spend some time learning how to use that stuff properly. And the mayor, for some reason, he takes a big interest in the materials that we use on the streets. So we are always researching new and better things. You know, even Clarence brought us a couple of things that we could use to repair potholes, and we're always looking at new materials. And as I think over the next few years, we'll transition into spending a good little bit of our paving budget on preservation and restoration instead of just, all we ever do is just pave a street. We'll use different techniques to crack seal more, and all different kinds of chemicals you can use on it to preserve it.
Can I interrupt you real quick? I know this is yours, but I'll give you some, the reason I think about it is I have a lifetime doing construction work, so. But one of the reasons I'm really looking at our asphalt program is we have 75 miles of city streets. That's not including alleys, that's just the streets. If you take the 75 miles of streets and you put a budget number of what we currently spend per mile to fix them, I'd say we're turning $35 to $45 million to repave all of our streets, okay? It's a big number. This year, I almost hate to put a number on that because we know what prices are gonna do, even though we've got this year's bid, but we know it's gonna go up. We've been averaging, Rosemary, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think when I was on council, we averaged 600,000 a year, and then this year we went to $1 million on our paving. Was it 600,000 or 700,000?
We didn't pave anything in '21.
No, I
We
mean-
carried it over.
Right, and we've been paving 600,000 about a year since this community crossing started, give or take.
It just
Maybe.
bounces around a little bit. Some
I was gonna
years we
say,
spend-
I didn't have those numbers in front of me, I'm sorry.
I know, but on average, I can tell you it's about
I
600,000
think
a
the
year.
money generally that she has to let us use each year is like 3, and then we get a match.
A match, so
Some years
600,000.
we hold it for 2 years, some.
So it's 600,000 a year on 30 to 45 million, you can tell what kind of cycle we're on. We're never gonna caught up, so. I've been focused my research on how can we take what we have, preserve it, or maintain it better, so that we can extend those cycles and get more done to make our roads better for a less amount of money. So I know I drive Brad crazy, because I'm constantly.
It's interesting.
I'm constantly digging into the asphalt side because I have a construction background, asphalt. Yeah, I've laid it, but that's about it. I can't say it was good, but I've learned to do it. But so I've been studying that, and I'm always researching. I'm always going to seminars to learn. I'm always trying to get us a better product so we can take our asphalt program and really make it better. That's what I'm really trying to do. So I know I drive them crazy with that because I'm always, hey, look at this. I'm always have stuff to look at. So I think we're on a track to make it the right direction. We've invested in the right equipment to do that. So we're really trying to, my focus is on getting our roads in better shape. Because we have a Pacer rating system and they're rated on a scale, and most of ours, they're not in horrible shape, but we do have bad spots. But most of our ratings are pretty low because they have not been paved in so long, so.
Yeah, the rating system is between 1 and 10, and we're probably a 5 average, I would say, or lower. Man, you know, if we can just bring that up a notch or two, people will really see that when they're out driving around.
But some of the technology that's out there now can really take those spots that need dug up and fixed immediately and fix them and put a permanent fix to them. So that way they can last the next time you regrind it and pave it, so.
See, I told you he can really talk about this. This is one of his favorite topics, isn't it?
I don't know if it's favorite, but it's a subject that drives me absolutely crazy because there's got to be a better solution. So that's what I'm trying to do, is find a better solution.
Some of the accomplishments were we downsized the mechanics shop this year. We went from 3 to 2 mechanics. We took that extra money and we invested that in farming out some of the work. Not necessarily always in favor of contracting out, but in some cases it made a lot of sense. We were spending numerous hours to do oil changes and tire changes and things like that, the guys can pull their police cars right up to the door of the oil place and drive it right in, and the whole thing's over with in 15 minutes. So it just didn't make sense for us to go pick up a car and spend 4 hours messing around with it. And all in all,
I mean, I hope those guys would say that we've improved some. I mean, we got a long ways to go before we're doing the quality of work I would like to, but it's better. It's definitely improved. Two last things at the street department that we did this year that I'm proud of. We got the Park Road lights. If anybody notices those when they're driving up through town at night, they look really good.
Yes.
And I'm proud of that, and I'm proud of the flower gardens that we were able to get a grant from the foundation to get started, and I hope that 5 years from now, those are gonna be something that people will really admire when they really get growing good. So I think I've talked long enough. So unless you got any questions, I'll sit down.
When is the transfer station gonna be open for limbs?
I don't know yet. I don't have a good answer.
I have questions on that.
Bonnie's up.
Asking me, I know the weather's not conducive to fixing potholes right now. What's your projection on that?
Soon. Just as soon as we weather.
Is that
Me.
like June or,
No, I'd say,
you said soon?
I'd say in March we'll be out doing it, you know, the weather, it just depends on the weather. As soon as things dry up enough, one of the first things that we want to do is, we're gonna spend probably a month crack sealing. We've got a lot of streets that need crack seal, we're gonna do that. So the plan is, we got like a 4-man crew that's gonna work on street repairs. And, we may have to add to that a little bit to do some of the potholes, to fill potholes, but, crack sealing and,
Plastic.
and, yeah, a couple of new technologies that we're looking at. And then we've got equipment now that we can cut potholes up and repair them properly. Not only go back and do it once instead of every 2 weeks or something. So we'll get started on that pretty quick. And probably sometime, maybe the 1st of April, we'll open the compost site back up and start picking up yard waste. And maybe Bonnie's already asked me when we could start picking up heavy trash again, so.
Don't you have 1 or 2 guys that go around picking up limbs along the streets and that sort of thing?
Yeah, well, you know, and storm can do, you know, after there's been a windstorm or something, we do
I
for
get all
sure.
that, but,
We got 15 people, 2 mechanics and Bonnie, and then 2 trash truck drivers, so we got like 10 people most days, so, and a lot of jobs to do, so.
The employment service, but there's been a set of limbs sitting on Central Avenue in about the 1400 block all winter long. And, I've seen trucks drive by them, and I don't know what their duties are, because they don't have them written on the side of the truck, so I don't know one person from the other. And other people's.
Well, we don't
make
just go
comments
out,
about
when
it.
somebody just puts limbs out on the curb, we don't just go out and pick those up automatically.
I get that too,
During yard waste we do, if they bundle them.
I get that too.
Yeah, I'm not sure what you're talking about, I haven't seen them. Now, sometimes, you know, I get what you're saying, they can be picked up.
And we're kind of working on a deal with people parking in their yards, but there's a lot of mud headed towards our storm sewers that you see. See that all over the main streets usually, from people being careless about where they park. But if they could while they're driving around, it'd be nice if they use a shovel once in a while around the storm sewers. Might help things a little bit.
All righty.
I appreciate it.
Okay.
Thank you. I thought you was done.
I thought so too.
Yeah.
All right, starting with January's report. Our law reports were 867, citations issued 42. Injury accidents are 7. Non-injury accidents are 32, no fatalities. Arrest made was 143, possession of syringes and paraphernalia was 17. Drug-related arrests, 54 in January. In January, our patrol took in 77 grams of meth, 3 grams of heroin, and 28 grams of fentanyl. Any questions on the January totals? We also used 2,308 gallons of fuel. January. Any questions on January's totals? Okay, so let's go to our 2021 annual totals. Our law reports ended up being 12,524 law reports, 460 citations, 93 traffic warnings, 66 accidents with injury, 3 fatalities, 2,223 traffic stops, 1,096 arrests. Our detectives took in 160 cases and currently have about 18 open cases. Our annual training was 1,827 hours of training. Also, as far as our ordinance violations go, from June to December, we had 97 grass violations, 94 property violations, 14 dangerous properties, 205 cars were tagged, and we only had to tow 15 of those, and 9 derby car violations. Last year we had reported 71 overdoses. Out of the 71, 6 resulted in deaths. 49 were male, 22 were female. The average age of the overdose was 37 years old. 24 subs were given 43 doses of Narcan. Our drug task force yearly totals are 456 grams of meth, 40 grams of fentanyl. They executed 12 search warrants. They seized 2 cars, 52 drug arrests, 103 paraphernalia needles, and confiscated 9 guns. In 2021, the police department has updated their handguns, replaced 5 old vehicles with 5 used vehicles, purchased body cameras, which we still don't have. They told us sometime in February. February's here, so hopefully it shows up soon. Hired an ordinance enforcer. We have our own drug incinerator. Updated our computers within the department. All our laptops are new. We haven't replaced them in probably over 10 years. And we have in-car laptops for our officers to do their reports and whatnot in their vehicles. Any questions on the yearly totals? Got a couple other items that I brought up to the Board of Works, and I apologize it's not in the packets because of the timing that we found out. Detective Coons is retiring this week. We found out Thursday that his last day is this Friday. Wow. So I asked permission from the Board of Works to replace his detective position and also his patrol position. Like now. Yeah. We're still on that waiting period for our September Police Academy. Hasn't opened yet, but I'd like to get all 3 of them in there at the same time if possible. You know, we're obviously going to take the time to vet a new police officer, but I asked permission to go ahead and take care of that as soon as possible. Also this morning, I received a retirement letter from our police secretary, Jackie Pennington, who's been with us for 26 years. She served us well, so it's been some time, 26 years, she's moving on a different endeavor. So I've got that open also. So
what are you gonna do about it? What are you gonna do about it?
Yeah, what are you gonna do about that? Her last day of work is March 18th. Any questions?
Have you, and I'm sure you have, question raised my mind because everybody's wanting to leave from one department or the other department. Has anybody approached you from other agencies to come and join your fine establishment?
Like a lateral?
Yeah.
No, no laterals. I wish. Make it simple, but no.
You haven't thrown any bait out or anything?
What kind of bait? I can use whatever.
I figured you'd have something up your sleeve.
Chief, did you get a chance to talk to the prosecutor yet?
I did. She has the paperwork and she's gonna review it with all her deputy prosecutors, and as soon as I hear back from that,
Appreciate it.
we're talking about his proposal for the
Yeah.
park, and yeah, the prosecutor's gonna review it all and look into it and then get back with us. So as soon as I hear something, I'll get with you.
I appreciate it.
Any questions? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Director Pause.
First of all, and most importantly, the funds are ahead 2113. So,
You said, first of all,
Yes.
most important,
yes.
glad you're here.
Thank you very much. Both your sons were playing in the first quarters.
Oh, don't tease us like that. Come on. Wow.
I had to say it.
He got me back.
He did.
So for the month of January, we had 9 hours, 25 minutes of meeting production, 22 hours, 29 minutes of original production. We've got a couple of our shows which are going back to monthly, Fun Foods Live and Science Isn't Scary. The library wants to shift those to monthly. We're still doing weekly on Crafty Corner. And we've added a new show, a new exercise program with Tara Henry. It's for seniors. And that will start very shortly. We'll air Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. It's called Move, Groove, and Rejuve. And the first shoot we did in the studio, and I tried to keep up with them, and it was quite a challenge. So they're very good. Any questions on that report? Additionally, the bi-weekly news journal program airs weekdays at 5:10 p.m. We'll shoot a new episode tomorrow, and that's going very well. We also could use some more volunteer reporters in that, so if anybody wants to volunteer, give me a call at the studio, 825-3245, and we'll see if we can get you involved with that. We're also looking for a host for a cooking show, so I mentioned that earlier during the Board of Works, so if anybody's interested in that, give me a call. On the annual report, on page 1, you can see bottom left there, we had 621 original productions, 337 hours, 22 minutes of production time. I love records, obviously, so you can see everything that we've done inside the report here, all of the meetings and productions that we do. Over on page 8, I did a breakdown of YouTube and our social media accounts. We have on here, this is, of course, as of January, it's 2,240, actually, we're closer to 2,500 subscribers on YouTube now. And a total of all of those together, we have a reach of 12,840. I think we pretty much cover everybody. So we're getting out there pretty well. As far as the next couple pages, those are just a breakdown on finances. Basically, we came in under budget, which is, always a goal. And I think we did pretty well on that. The last page is just kind of a photo wrap of the entire year. I put myself there in the middle. That might, a little bit of explanation there. That was me trying to hold the tent down during the rainstorm at the football game. So that was fun. Everybody got very wet that night. Yep, everybody. So, any questions on that? I tried to keep that pretty short, but I know I gave you a lot of data in there. So, any questions? Sorry?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay. Moving down to old business. Anyone have any old business? Under miscellaneous business, anyone have any miscellaneous business?
I have a question, obviously. I noticed several communities in our neighborhoods, so-called neighborhoods, putting on entertainment shows. I forgot to ask Ms. Good about that. See if we were going to do any entertainment as far as bands or anything like that this year. Everybody's gearing that up and they're already announcing it. I haven't seen anything on our agenda, so.
we have the Festivals Committee, we're doing we got permission from the Board of Works to do that. She's been advertising that already. Doing the concert in the spring with the vendors and the car show. I don't have the date with me. You remember what that date was, Rosemary? Your better dates.
Is it May or?
May. She's getting it built now. She's been putting it out there, we're not getting vendors attraction. She's already got a bunch of attraction. It's the same thing we did last year with the festival downtown. As far as the rest of it, I don't know. This is step one we're gonna start doing more of a summer concert series, but we gotta build that. It takes time. So we got a project we're getting ready to do down there that will help launch that endeavor. We're gonna announce all that at the same time we do that festival. But I'm a musician. I mean, I love live music. One of my goals is to do a lot more live music in Connersville. We have a ton of musicians in Connersville.
I agree with that.
So that is a goal of mine. The pandemic, love it or hate it, slowed it down. I was pretty aggressive pushing that goal, making connections, but that really shut a lot of it down. So what we did last year was a springboard to where we really want to get to, and so that's just one piece of the puzzle. So yes, the short answer is yes.
I just feel that we might want to expand that to the park too.
Mhm.
Because,
She's got her summer.
key is the park also.
Agree. She's got her summer movie schedule. I know she's not here now, she already left, but I think that she's trying to tweak some of the times and get a better indication of when people are coming, what times work better. John, what'd she do, 9 movies, I think she did last year?
She said 8.
8. Okay, so she did 8 movies last year, scattered throughout the summer. So she's looking to keep records of that and see what works better, maybe move some stuff around. So there's a lot she's doing with the movies. All the equipment was paid for through donations. So, and then with the sound system we purchased last year to help with that, to give a better sound. So there's a lot going on with the parks, yes.
But I know in the past that they've had several decent bands up there, and it's attracted a lot of attention to Connersville.
I don't disagree with that.
I feel that we need to be putting ourselves on the map for more entertainment than what we are.
I am walking that road with you. I agree with you 100% on that one.
I just want to touch base on that because, like I said, other communities are already advertising it in their newspapers and local community bulletin boards and that sort of stuff. They've got a list already, so
Yeah, I walk on the same road.
I don't like being behind it.
Me neither.
Stuff.
Any other miscellaneous business? I do.
I have one thing. I'd like to congratulate the Spartan basketball team on their conference victory. They were undefeated in the conference this year, and to wish them luck in the upcoming sectionals.
Absolutely. Is there anything else? I do have one thing I want to ask for just because of time limit. I don't think I'll be able to do it by the next meeting. But I want to go ahead and get permission to advertise for let me get my calendar up here. The trash rate fee to be March 21st meeting. The reason I want to do it now is I've got to fill by the time our next meeting with a time frame working with the newspaper. I don't know if I can get in time, so I want to ask for permission now. It won't go in till later, but just to have a public hearing on that, March 21st for the trash rate fee that we've been preparing with Adam Stone. So basically all I'm asking for is permission to advertise for the public hearing for that.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Thank you very much. I'd rather be safe than sorry on that, so. We're still gathering more information. We've been meeting with vendors, so we'll get all that put together, but you have the first steps of it. You can study all that, and then we'll finalize, get everything put together, then give it to you so you can see the final numbers. Okay, any closing back there from the public? Nope. If not, I'll take a motion for adjournment. Have a motion second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Have a good evening.